We would have sincerely appreciated if you could keep the microphone muted throughout the speeches and presentations to avoid any sound interruption. While we wait to begin, let's take a moment to watch a short video on Taylor's ADP's 25th anniversary celebration.
Good morning, good evening, wherever you're dialing in from today.
Thank you so much for joining us as we celebrate the 25th anniversary of Taylor's ADP.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction to this 25th anniversary of the ADP program. It is a milestone, and it is a milestone that we should be very proud of.
Well, thank you very much. An honor for me from the U.S. Embassy to be a part of this. Especially, your timing is great. This is almost July 4th, so a time of big U.S. celebration.
Right here.
I'm a science student, but all along, I've always had a wish.
Happy birthday to the American Degree Transfer Program. Thank you.
Congratulations and thank you so much.
Congratulations, and hope you
We look forward to more collaborations and hope to see you all soon.
Will surely enrich their career as well as their contribution to Malaysia.
Congratulations for this magnificent achievement of 35 years of success.
It's been an honor and privilege to work with such a great group of people at Taylor's University.
Congratulations, and what an amazing accomplishment.
Congratulations to Taylor's on the 25th anniversary of its American Degree Transfer Program.
Oh, happy anniversary.
So much for the very warm introduction. The United States is familiar to many Malaysians, not only for its great landmarks and iconic pop culture, but also as an ally in sharing a diverse and expanding partnership in various sectors, including education.
I'm thrilled to be a part of this virtual event. It's great to be a fun part of this event. I'm looking forward to the continuation and hoping to continue to catch up on all that I've missed over the years.
For the successful Silver Jubilee celebration for American Degree Transfer Program. Thank you.
We had many happy years with ADP.
All the best to ADP.
Thank you and congratulations.
Enjoy.
This is great. We've got some of our students and alumni tuning in from Japan, Bangladesh, Korea, Canada, and the United States. Welcome everyone. We're so thrilled to have you with us today.
Oh wow, that's a higher turnout than we expected. Well,
Asia. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, in your good fingers, Mark.
Happy 25th anniversary, Taylor's ADP.
That's great. We have reached above and beyond together. After all, we've already achieved 25 years of excellence, and I think that's pretty amazing.
Thank you so much for everything that you're doing.
And enjoy this video. Hello everyone, I'm Zarif Singh.
Can you give them one a day? I just can't sleep tonight. Can someone tell me how to make a change?
Thank you everyone. We have managed to at least bring a smile to everyone's face this morning. Our story and our journey is not done. We will see you at our 30th anniversary.
Look at that.
Happy anniversary to Taylor's ADP.
Congrats to the dedication of the staff, awesome students, and
ADP Taylors. I wish you all the best.
So thank you for everything, ADP, and congratulations on making it this far.
Happy birthday, ADP.
Hi Taylor's ADP. Congratulations and happy silver anniversary.
Taylor's ADP continue to develop
progress and stay ahead.
Happy 25th anniversary, Taylor's ADP.
Happy 25th anniversary, Taylor's ADP.
Happy birthday, ADP.
Happy birthday.
Happy 25th birthday.
Wish ADP a very happy 25th anniversary.
You're doing happy birthday, Lisa.
Happy 25th anniversary.
Happy 25 years of excellence in education.
Happy 25th anniversary.
Happy birthday, and many more.
Very, very happy birthday to ADP. And we wish you all
Happy birthday, Taylor's ADP. Thank
Happy 25th anniversary.
Happy birthday and all the best. Happy 25th anniversary, Taylor's ADP.
Happy 25th anniversary, Taylor's ADP. Happy birthday and congratulations.
Congratulations on your 25th anniversary.
Congratulations on your 25th anniversary. Thank you.
We wish Taylor's ADP a very happy birthday.
Happy birthday, ADP. Happy 25th.
Wish you guys a very happy 25th birthday.
Happy 25th
anniversary.
25th year anniversary.
Happy anniversary,
Taylor's ADP.
Happy 25th anniversary, ADP.
25th
Anniversary, Taylor's ADP.
Rising to your dreams.
Happy
birthday. Happy 25th anniversary, and here's to many more years of excellence.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, Miss Prema, and happy birthday to the one and only Taylor's ADP, to the next
Yeah.
30 milestones and beyond. Today's theme, Rising to Your Dreams, could not be more relevant. It embodies the past, the present, the future, and is a constant reminder that no matter what stage of life one is today, continue to dream big and strive for excellence. Good morning, good evening, wherever you're done.
Good morning to all who have joined us. A warm welcome to our inspirational webinar in conjunction with Taylor's ADP's 25th anniversary celebration titled Ignite Your Dreams, Our Journey with Taylor's ADP and Beyond. It is indeed great to see so many joining us this morning. My name is Judith Mason-Muller, a lecturer from the School of Liberal Arts and Sciences at Taylor's University, and I will be your host. We are actually indeed privileged to have with us today 3 Taylor's ADP alumni, Ms. Elvine Goh, a vaccine scientist, Mr. Ha Yi Min, a consultant traffic engineer, and Ms. Amy Soon, an actuary, to share their journey in discovering their dreams and achieving them successfully in the United States. Before we continue with this session, I would just like to highlight a few housekeeping announcements. Please keep the microphones muted throughout the speeches and presentations to avoid any sound interruption. The session is recorded. There will be a Q&A session towards the end of this webinar. You may type in your questions and comments during that time, and it will be put forward to our speakers. A group photo will be taken after the opening remarks, so do be camera ready to turn on your camera for the photography session. Thank you, everyone. To kickstart our session today, it is my pleasure to call upon Ms. Prema Ponudure, Head of Department for School of Liberal Arts and Sciences, to say a few words. Over to you, Ms. Prema.
Morning, Judith. Thank you, everybody. A very good morning and a warm welcome to our session today, Ignite Your Dreams, Our Journey with Taylor's ADP and Beyond. Thank you for taking the time today to be with us for this inspirational webinar with our alumni. I'm Prema Ponudure, the Head of Department of Liberal Arts and Humanities at the School of Liberal Arts and Sciences, where our ADP program is positioned. Under normal circumstances, we would have invited you to our campus and had a coffee and listened to these inspirational speakers and answer all your questions. However, as we have seen, all of our lives have taken a turn and we have had to adapt, learn, and relearn how we go about our daily lives. So here we are virtually, but nevertheless, with the same goals and focus. which is to share with you some thoughts and key skills to keep your dream alive and never give up even when things seem difficult. With this current pandemic, we have learned that flexibility is the key skill. And this is in essence the beauty of the American Degree Transfer Program. I would also like to share some milestones which the program has achieved. After providing ADP in Malaysia for 25 years, we have now a Taylor's ADP franchise in Jakarta, Indonesia, where we offer our ADP program with our partner, Unisaduguna, UIC College. This is a testament of the quality of teaching, content, and our partnership and reputation in Malaysia and globally. To ensure teaching and learning continuity and sustainability, we have enhanced and upgraded teaching with the inclusion of state-of-the-art technology and devices with the use of Lightboards, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Labster as well. We have built strong industry linkages with local and international organizations. This enables our students to enhance hands-on training, develop future skills, and provide exposure to industry even at the early start of their degree. As a result of these partnerships, we have an industry awarded book prize, which is given to top students. In addition, we have ADP students who have been given internship opportunities with our industry partners. We are proud to also announce, as you know, that the ADP program has just celebrated its silver anniversary in July. All of this is not possible without the fantastic qualities of our students and alumni. They are the ones who inspire us to go further in our pursuit. Our alumni, such as Ms. Alvina Go, a vaccine specialist with the National Institute of Health in the US, Mr. Ha Yi Min, a traffic engineer and consultant in the US, and of course, Ms. Amy Sun, a HRMA, Actuarial Science Manager at PwC in the USA. I would like to thank you all for being here with us today to share and provide insights on your journey with ADP and your pursuit to working in the US in your areas of specialization. Following your dreams is not always a smooth ride, and you may face many challenges and barriers. However, we hope that from today's session, you have a sense that anything is possible and you have renewed inspiration to follow your dreams. So to the audience here today, please take this opportunity to ask our speakers all your questions about their journey and experience firsthand. Before I end today, I would like to thank the organizing committee led by Ms. Lim Yu Peng and Program Director Dr. Loh Kah Heng, comprising of Ms. Judith, Dr. Kalaivani, Ms. Kelly, Mr. Alvin Ng, Ms. Teresa Chiu, Ms. Tava Mala, and Dr. Wong. Thank you again for joining us today and hope to see you soon. All the best, stay safe, and enjoy the session. Thank you, Judith.
Thank you, Ms. Prema, for setting the stage for our session today. Now, before we move on, we would like to take a virtual group picture. So please switch on your cameras and give us your best smile.
Morning, everyone. Yeah, can you please turn on your cameras? We'll just give you a minute. Yes, that's great to see all of you looking so fresh early in the morning. Now put on your biggest smile and smile directly at your camera, please. Yeah, at the count of, okay, there are a few more switching on the cameras. 3, 2, 1. Just hold that smile, yeah? Okay, thank you so much, everybody, for being so cooperative.
Thank you, everyone. Now we will start. This morning, we are delighted to have Ms. Elvine Go, a vaccine scientist with National Institutes of Health, USA. She was born and raised in Kota Kinabalu, Sabah, and is an alumnus of San Francis Convent Secondary School. She was involved in multiple clubs such as Nature Lovers Club, Scouts Association, Interact Club, and she was a school choir leader and conductor. Ms. Elvin enrolled in Taylor's ADP in 2009 under the chemical engineering major and graduated in June 2011. During her time in ADP, she was elected as the president of Economania Club. She, together with the team, worked hand in hand to pull off a remarkable economics expo in 2010. Ms. Elvin transferred to Drexel University in 2011 and graduated in 2014. She was elected vice president of the Malaysian Student Association of Drexel University. As part of the university's co-op program, she had the opportunity to perform research from the university's chemical, biological, and civil engineering department for 10 months, and then interned for GlaxoSmithKline for 6 months. She also authored 2 scientific publications. She loves to travel and spend time outdoors with her husband. She is also a bookstagrammer on Instagram, where she reads or where she shares her journey of reading a book from every country in the world. Ms. Elvin Go, welcome, and the platform is yours.
All right, thank you, Ms. Judith. Hello, everyone. My name is Elvin Go. I would like to first thank the organizers for hosting this webinar for students. I think it's an excellent resource for you young folks out there. I'm also grateful to be selected as one of the speakers for this session. This program has produced many students who have achieved significant career milestones in their lives, and imagine that it all began right here in Taylor's ADP. I've been very blessed with this experience so far, and I owe it to so many people along the way. I will attempt to share a condensed version of my journey from where I was in 2008 to where I am right now. I will be candid with my experience, sharing both the good and the bad, so you know what to look out for as you make your American dream come true. So after completing SPM, I was enlisted in the mandatory Malaysian National Service, or PLKN, in early 2008. I don't think you guys know it anymore. I was assigned to a camp in Kuala Langat, Selangor. That was the very first test of my ability to live away from the comfort of my family. Fast forward 3 months later, I went home to KK and went right into my GCE A-level classes. I had already missed 3 months of curriculum. I kid you not, it was challenging trying to switch from a routine of intense physical training to a mindset of intense studying. It felt way too similar to studying for SPM again. After my A1 exams, I knew I needed to bail out. Studying in the UK was also financially unrealistic for my parents and me. It was early 2009 when I saw a pamphlet on the American degree program, which led my parents and me to the local marketing office of Taylor's University in KK. I had no clue what ADP was about or if I would even like the American education system. I relied heavily on brochures and online pamphlets handed out to me by the office as sources of information. And remember, this was right before YouTube or Facebook was a platform for sharing educational reviews. I wanted to study abroad without draining my parents' life savings, and I want to shoulder the costs on my own. Luckily, the Mara scholarship and assistance allowed me to do just that. The tricky part here was to justify my Bumi Putra status, even though my mother is a native Kadazan and my dad is half Chinese. But after lengthy discussions, my parents gave me their full support to end my A-levels program to enroll in ADP. And you know what? It was the best decision ever, and I am forever grateful for their trust in me. Well, of course, moving to KL was a big game changer for me. My ADP friends became like my family. We camped in libraries to study and had meals together. The classes were great. You choose your major, you take your 100 to 200 level courses in a diverse range of subjects, which are equivalent to freshman and sophomore courses. And of course, the courses that are relevant to your major to complete the prerequisites for your sophomore or junior level courses in the US university of your choosing. None of the subjects in ADP were irrelevant per se. They're all going to be very helpful when you assimilate yourself as a student here in the US. I also like that you don't have to beat yourself up for 11 months only to take your finals once at the end of the year. In the American education system, you will have plenty of opportunities along the way to make up for your grades in a single semester. You pretty much get rewarded for the amount of work that you put in, including homework and assignments, midterms, tests, all of that matters in your final grade. Nothing that you do is inconsequential. My major was chemical engineering. At this point, I still didn't know what the heck I could do with that degree except to work for one of the big oil companies. And to be honest, I didn't like the prospect of that. I then transferred to Drexel University in Philadelphia in the fall of 2011. If you think moving from Sabah to KL was hard, man, this move was 100 times worse. While traveling to the US was exciting, I felt lonely and homesick once I reached here. This went on for 3 months and it was the lowest point of my life. I was feeling depressed. I decided to tell my parents that I wanted to quit, go back to Malaysia, continue my education back home. But my mom resisted and she reminded me what the ending prize would be, a reputable degree from an American university. She told me all I needed was friends and that time will make it all better. You know what? She was right. I found a small community of Indonesian, Malaysian, and Singaporean friends in Drexel. My advice is to reach out to any Asian associations in the university of your choosing so you know you have a good support system when you reach there. The reason is that you always need someone with who you can convey your emotions comfortably, and especially in a language and cultural understanding that you're comfortable in. It may not seem like obvious, but it is. My advice is only for the beginning stages of your life here in the US though, so you can get yourself situated with confidence. Trust me, the Americans are amiable and welcoming people. You will get diverse friends from countries that you've never even heard of. And that's what I love about being here, the diversity that society brings. And just FYI, my husband is from India, so everything will be all right. Don't worry about that. Another piece of advice I would give is finding a university with a co-op or internship program. You may not know this, but students can work, paid or unpaid, part-time here on their student F1 visas. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, please speak to the counselors or actually any one of us here about this, and I will be happy to help. I believe the limit is about 20 hours per week. You want to do this so you can dip your toes and have the golden opportunity to work for American companies, to learn their work culture, occupational standards, learn from the best, and hopefully contribute to the company. The bonus part here is to get paid to do all of that. And when you have the opportunity to get paid, save up your funds for future use, invest, travel, pamper your family, or make yourself happy by getting a furry friend. And I did this twice, like was mentioned before. My first co-op was as a research assistant to a PhD candidate at Drexel University. The second was working in a pharmaceutical manufacturing company, GlaxoSmithKline or GSK. It was only in the second co-op that I found my interest, a biochemical engineer in the world of health sciences. But the world of health sciences is still too broad. In a last-minute effort to focus on this field, I registered a concentration in biological engineering in my senior year. Instead of having a relaxing senior year, as anyone should be doing, I tortured myself with 20 credits a semester till the very end. Now comes graduation. The real dilemma starts here. What can I do now? Adulthood is looming near. I need to find a company willing to employ a fresh graduate and is also on a student visa. I can 100% guarantee you that every international student who has graduated from a US university will know precisely how this feels. How do you convince a US company to hire you over the American graduates? How do you make them understand your predicament as an international student? My advice here is to either reach out to those same companies you have interned for and keep a solid relationship with them. Apply to hundreds of jobs. I applied to more than 100 companies myself. And don't be too picky initially. You'll have the luxury to be picky once you have gained at least some years of professional experience. The key here is to try and execute. You won't know your dreams or your passion if you don't try and experience anything in life. I was fortunate to have been offered a job with the company that I interned with, which was GSK. I stayed with them for a little over a year. Finally, I was recruited by NIH, National Institutes of Health. And I'll be honest, at that time, I had no clue what the job will entail. I again made a move from Philadelphia to Maryland. This job showed me where my true passion lies in the world of vaccines. Working as a scientist for the largest biomedical research institute in the world has been the most rewarding experience. Most of our research is not for profit and trialed clinically worldwide from America to Asia and even Africa. Any viable vaccines like Moderna COVID-19 vaccine, Taiwan's Medigene COVID-19 vaccine, the seasonal influenza vaccines, they all have a real world impact on public health. I have worked on plenty of candidate vaccines for various infectious diseases such as HIV, influenza, malaria, Zika virus, Ebola, and finally, SARS-CoV-2. My job responds to the real-time spread of contagious diseases. The best part of my job is that I have the chance to use world-class technology in the lab and learn from some of the most brilliant minds in the field. And once you begin working, you will have challenges as a foreign worker too, to find a company that can sponsor your work visa. I won't get into the details of immigration here because trust me, that is a topic in and of itself. Don't be afraid to try and don't look at failures negatively. It is only through adversity that you can see your true capabilities. If you're constantly cocooned in a state of comfort and insecurity, you will never have the opportunity to be challenged to learn something new. Overcome your shortcomings, develop a hobby, read plenty of books, keep yourself well informed, and always keep an open mind. Good luck, have fun, and please stay safe, not just for your well-being, but especially for your loved ones. I'll now turn the time back to Ms. Judith.
Thank you so much, Ms. Alvin. That was really interesting. On to our next speaker, we are privileged to have Mr. Ha Yi Min, a consultant traffic engineer with Kittleston and Associates, USA. After graduating from Sri Kuala Lumpur Secondary School in 2008, Mr. Ha joined the Taylor's ADP program to study engineering. During this time at ADP, he served as the Vice President of Economania Club, where he learned to organize various events. One such event was the first ever Carnival Fiesta Economania in 2009. Another event would be the Economania's fundraiser for Malaysian AIDS Council. He and his peers also won first prize in the Taylor's Business Plan competition in 2010. Mr. Ha received his Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering at Purdue University, where he minored in management and entrepreneurship. Now, with Kittleston and Associates, he works on a variety of planning and engineering projects to help build safer and more efficient roads, intersections, and transit systems. Mr. Ha has also led sales and product management for Blue Mac Analytics, a traffic data collection technology subsidiary of Kittleston. He enjoys hiking during weekends and finding hidden culinary gems. Welcome, Mr. Ha Yi Min, and the time is yours.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
All right. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Ms. Judith for the introduction, Ms. Lim for organizing the event, and I'm just super excited to be here today to talk to you about my presentation, which I titled "What I Wish I Knew While at Taylor's ADP." Right? Keep it simple. My goal on my presentation today is two things. Number one, I want to share some key takeaways. Ms. Judith did a good job at talking about my, my journey up to the United States. I want to share a little bit more about my journey once I arrive in the United States and some key takeaways from that journey. And number two, For those of you exploring a career in STEM or even considering it, I just want to give you one example of what a career in STEM may look like in less than 10 minutes, So hopefully that gives you some value in assessing whether that's something you want to pursue or not. Okay. So this is, in case you don't know, this is a map of the United States. You'll be seeing quite a bit of this in my presentation. And off the coast of California here is tropical Malaysia. This is where I grew up for most of my life in Petaling Jaya. I went to school, primary school, and I was born and raised in KL. Went to school in Subang Jaya, both from my primary school years through Taylor's ADP. And so I'm true and true Malaysian, grew up there. And then, so you can only imagine in 2011 when I actually made my journey to Indiana, that's quite a different climate there, right? But during my time at Indiana, I went to school at Purdue University, did my bachelor's in civil engineering, and was really excited to go to the US, mainly for reasons that Elvin has already shared, right? I was really attracted to the flexibility of the American education system, the ability to take different classes, the fact that you can take, you can spend a semester in psychology and decide whether that's something for you or not, So for me, a lot of it was about taking classes in management, entrepreneurship, alongside with some of the engineering classes, which I really enjoyed as well. But I want to jump to my first lesson, and you'll see this peppered through the presentation. Lesson number one that I've learned in retrospect is the people-oriented classes are the ones that stay with you the longest. And what I mean by this is, during my time at Purdue, the classes that stuck with me the longest were my entrepreneurship classes. Why? Because, and it's the same in Taylor's as well. It was all my business plan competition, right? Why? It's because you learn how to work with people, and it's the people problems, people management problems that throughout your career, that's going to be the toughest thing to resolve, and the thing that requires the most finesse, right? And those classes and the exercises you do, even 7 years into my career, I still think back on some of those things sometimes, and you can still find yourself learning from those experiences. So whatever you decide to study, my recommendation is try to squeeze in a few classes that are much more project people oriented, something that ADP offers in abundance, right? So I'm in Indiana. I'm trying to go around and get my internship experiences. So while I was there, I was fortunate enough to do some internships in the Bay Area in California and in New York City, with different companies. And I get questions about this all the time. It's about how do you land these internships? What do you do? And I don't have a magic bullet for anybody, but what I found as my lesson number two to be really helpful, not just in landing an internship or job, but in life in general, right, is doing meet and greets. Plain and simple. In fact, I had one of my companies I worked at, our CEO would tell me, I want you every day to reach out to 3 people, every week to reach out to 3 people outside your office, schedule coffee, talk to them, and I found that to be such a simple yet enlightening exercise, right? I mean, most of us are kind of afraid to reach out to people, but people love to talk about themselves. They love to share. And if you're a student, chances are, 2 things. Chances are, if you're a student, people feel more compelled to connect with you and to share with you their experience. But secondly, is chances are they'll buy you lunch anyway. So, no reason not to turn down free lunch. Okay, so Purdue, I've gone to Purdue, graduated in 2013, and I moved down to Fort Lauderdale, Florida in 2014 to start my career where I work today, Kittleson and Associates, which is a traffic engineering and planning firm. And this is the part of the presentation where I really want to share with you in just a few slides in what a career in civil engineering may look like, right? This is an example of a very quick sketch. It's a highly collaborative environment. If you think engineering is all about being in front of a screen and spending hours chugging away at things, it's not. It's highly collaborative, right? And so this is an example of a project in downtown Portland where we have some dedicated bus lanes, bicycle lanes, doing some weird maneuvers here, doing diagonal movements that will conflict with the vehicular through movement. So this is the kind of sketches that we kind of pump up, in a meeting with a client to kind of conceptualize how an intersection will operate in a multimodal environment. And then what we do is we take that and then we detail it out as this is a different intersection, but we detail it out in engineering plan, right? This is the kind of things that you probably imagine a civil engineer would prepare, plans, specifications. This is kind of like your IKEA instruction set for your contractors. But that's not all there is to traffic engineering, right? There's the aspect of the traffic lights themselves. You'll need to time it and operate it and figure out how do you make more efficient use of the infrastructure you already have, right? Just by managing it. So this is an example of a retiming project. You're standing out in the sun a lot, looking at traffic, staring at cars moving, but it's actually really interesting. Most people don't understand it, but it's really interesting. We have apps that help us better predict how and to see what the timings are going on at the signals. And we work with technicians and to kind of wire up the traffic signal based on what we are, what we want to do, right? We look at data, we visualize data to tell stories and understand key questions that can drive our design. And we work with planning agencies. We help create pretty documents. It's not just black and white plan sheets, right? We create nice, pretty documents to help secure funding for projects that we've identified. So what's the lesson here? The lesson is that try to find the value in everything that you're learning, right? And trust me, if you can identify the value, it becomes so much more fun to learn the subject, right? So if you're finding something boring, try to think about why is this useful, and I guarantee you it'll be that much more interesting. And the other thing is the world is not organized in disciplines, right? Your client needs does not end in traffic engineering. Sometimes it might be a finance issue. Sometimes it might be a different discipline of engineering, right? So learning to be flexible. I think Ms. Prema mentioned talking about flexibility earlier, how important it is today. Yeah, learning to be flexible is one of those things that I found that the American degree program and the American education allowed me to do, because I was able to take classes in electrical engineering, I was able to take classes in entrepreneurship, and those things really stay with me today. So after spending about 3 years in Florida, I decided I needed a change of scenery, moved north about as far across the country as you can go, from the southeast to the northwest, which I really love right now, and I call home, Portland, Oregon. And been doing the same job with the same company, but roles have changed over the years, and right now, I lead the operations and analytics practice, which is, traffic engineers trying to figure out how to answer key questions, right, and influence design. So there's a lot of my responsibilities is about practice building and business development. I work on an innovation committee, which is responsible for removing internal barriers to innovation, trying to encourage people to create new ideas and execute on them. And I also do work with BlueMac Analytics in the sales side and also in the product management side. So why am I talking about all this stuff, right? It's because my next point is life can take you anywhere. No decisions you make now is really set in stone. If you get a bad grade in math, and this is true for me, I got not a very good grade in statistics in school, yet data analytics is such a big part of what I do today. What you do in college, it's important, but it doesn't define who you are. So just want you to remember that there is a difference in academia and difference in real life. They both serve very important functions, but don't let a bad grade put you down. So in summary, take classes that train you in people management, reach out, ask people to do meet and greets. Chances are they'll buy you lunch. Seek the value of anything that you're learning, learn to identify the value in anything that you do, and seek comfort in life. Seek comfort that life can take you anywhere, that you can make a 5-year plan, but chances are your 5-year plan will change along the way. And the one last thing I just want to part here, what I call a bonus lesson, is, success only gets harder as you get into go further along your career, right? In school, things are very defined. You do good in this class, you get a good grade. Real life isn't like that, you know? So don't measure yourself against others and what expectation society gives upon you. Learn to be your best self. And that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ha, for the insight provided. I love the plans and illustrations that you have shown us. We are also fortunate to have our third speaker for the day, Miss Amy Soon, a HR M&A Actuarial Manager with PricewaterhouseCoopers PwC USA. She is also the president and co-founder of Money Boss, a personal finance education platform. Ms. Amy is an alumnus of SMK Sultan Abdul Samad Petalinjaya. She enrolled in Taylor's ADP in 2006 under Actuarial Science. During her time in ADP, she was elected as the president of Taylor's Dance Club and was also the president of Actuarial Science Society. Ms. Amy was awarded JPA full scholarship for a double major in actuarial science and finance and graduated from Drake University in 2010. Apart from being the president of Omicron Delta Kappa, a National Leadership Honor Society, she was also selected for Drake's College Business and Public Administration's Top Junior Leadership Award. In her pursuit of her actuarial consulting career, Ms. Amy completed her Fellow of Society of Actuaries credentials within 6 years. At PwC, she pioneered spans and layers of work for her group and led the adoption of a new HR analytics joint venture, Cruncher. Ms. Amy has represented Malaysia as a national figure skater in several SEA Games competition. She has also competed in semi-pro competition in America. Currently, Ms. Amy and her sister are building a business teaching people how to manage and invest their money to achieve financial freedom. Ms. Amy Soon, welcome, and the platform is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Judith. That was such a warm welcome. A little shy now. But it is such a pleasure to be here with you guys this morning. It is nighttime for me. I am located in New York City, but I am really happy to be here. Thank you, Taylor's ADP, to be sharing my journey and hopefully be able to inspire you juniors to go pursue your dreams. Okay. So as Ms. Judith has introduced me, I am a manager at PwC for HR M&A, which is mergers and acquisition. And I've also co-founded Money Boss, a personal finance education platform. Before I begin, I like to start out with one of my favorite stories to share. This one time there was a huge, massive electrical power plant, and it had a blackout. The plant manager couldn't figure out for the life of her how to turn it back on. They spent hours and hours and they couldn't figure it out. So they brought in a mechanic specialist. The mechanic specialist came in, he walked straight to this one box, and there were like maybe at least 50 different boxes in there. He went straight to this one box and turned a screw. Within 5 minutes, he fixed it, and everything in the power plant turned back on. He turned to the plant manager and said, "Ma'am, that's gonna be $1,000. And she was shocked. She was like, "You haven't even been here for 5 minutes. How is that $1,000? Write me an invoice." And so he put out a notepad and he scribbled some things on there, handed it back to her. She looked at it, then she nodded and said, "Yep, that sounds about right." And on the invoice, it said, "Turn screw $10. Knowing which screw to turn, $990. The moral of the story here, guys, is that one screw turned the entire plant back on. So, do you know what is the one screw that you can turn that unlocks everything else in your life? Find your one screw, find your focal point. A little bit about me, as Ms. Judith has introduced earlier. When I graduated from high school, I was a national figure skater. I went around Southeast Asia and competed. And lucky for me, I wasn't great in in all the subjects, but one subject I was very proud of was math. And so at that time, I was deciding what career to pick. And one hand, I was like, maybe I could be an actor. I love performing arts. And then the other hand, I was like, or I could do something with math. So my sister asked me at that point of my life, Amy, what do you want in life? And I had to think about it really hard. And then I decided that what I really wanted in life was to travel the world and live life to the fullest, which means I needed a lot of money. So I had to find something, a skill set that I was good at, math, and something that the marketplace will pay for, which was to be an actuary. So if you guys are thinking something, I would recommend finding a skill set that you're good at, something that you enjoy doing, and something that the marketplace will reward you for it, will pay you for it. And if you can find an intersection of those three, I think that's a really strategic career move. And so for me, I wanted to be an actuary. An actuary is basically applied math in the business world. And so my goal was to get an actuarial job in America. I was laser focused. And so for any of you juniors here today, if you're thinking to be an actuary, pay close attention and take notes. Number one, pass actuarial exams. Pass as many as you can, as fast as you can. I was lucky enough that I had a mentor in the field at that time, and the average graduate were graduating with 2 exams. And so he told me to get a head start in Malaysia. So I passed 2 exams in my freshman year at Taylor's ADP. And so when I transferred over, immediately I was ahead of my peers and I stood out. Number 2, obtain leadership positions. American employers really do appreciate leadership qualities. Leaders tend to be more proactive. They own the work and they can lead others. So if you can go pursue, become a president of a society or organize an event, maybe become an MC, be vocal and beef up your resume. Those things really count when you're trying to get your first internship or job. And then third of all, score an internship, ideally paid. But if not, get an unpaid internship because one leads to another, as Ms. Alvin mentioned earlier. And if you feel like you have exhausted traditional routes such as career fairs, get creative and find ways to stand out. I have heard of people where they would go volunteer in career fairs, or they'll go help out in events that the company they want to end up in was running. Because when you do that, you get backstage access to connect with the speakers, get their business card, and network. Build the relationship and invest in that. If you build really good relationship, which is what Mr. Ha mentioned earlier, everything in life is about connecting with people. And if you can connect and build relationships, that will get you really far in life. So if you can get the business card, build the connection, maybe forward your resume. If you're lucky, they may forward your resume to the hiring manager. And when you get that, immediately you're at the top of the resume pile. You compared to everyone else that submitted through a career website, it makes you stand out. So this is 3 really quick strategic smart moves that you can take if you want to score a job offer as an actuary in America. And most of all, stay focused on your goals. It is so easy to get distracted, guys. So easy. Be intentional with how you spend your time and with who you spend your time with. I'm sure you've heard this before. You are the average of the 5 friends you hang out with. Especially when you're in college, it's very easy to relax and, chill lah with your friends on the weekends. But if you have a goal, you owe it to yourself to go pursue it relentlessly. Be bold, don't be afraid, and just do it. I cannot tell you how many times I have failed my actuarial exams. I think one exam I failed 4 times, and I'm not even kidding. But the best part, the good thing about me was I never questioned what I wanted. After high school, I decided that I was going to be an FSA. So it was never a question of if I was going to be an FSA, it was a matter of when. And for the rest of you who may not have context, about 10% of people that take the first exam complete all the way through to, I think, maybe the 9 remaining exams. So it is very competitive, very challenging. And whether you're an actuary or not, in whatever you do, be resilient because you're not a failure unless you quit. Here are some highlights from my life. I like to think about it as how I work, how I play, and how I give back. So I started out as a pension actuary, working in pension plans. And then I ventured into mergers and acquisition because it was more exciting. What I do is basically I look at financial statements, I value them. A lot of them end up being on a Wall Street Journal front cover. At PwC, our clients are Fortune 500 clients. So that's been pretty incredible. Being a consulting actuary was my goal. And I can't tell you, when I were in your shoes, getting my FSA and my green card was only something I could dream of. So the day I got those things, it felt like freedom. And I really want this for you guys as well. And then how I play, thankfully I was able to land myself in a pretty lucrative career. And the big four firms, they do give you pretty good benefits. So PTO policies are quite generous. So I was able to travel to 45 countries and 6 continents. And the best part is I never gave up my hobbies in performing arts. I ended up learning how to do aerial silks, aerial hoop, and I even competed in pole dancing on semi-pro stage. And what I'm really passionate right now is to give back. I co-founded Money Boss with my sister, where we teach people how to level up their money IQ and money EQ. Think of money IQ like how do you invest? How do you manage your money? How do you lower your taxes? And money EQ is discovering your blind spots on money. A lot of us have limiting beliefs about wealth. And so we help people level up in those areas to help them achieve financial freedom. I'm not sure if you've heard of the FIRE movement. It stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early, and that's what Money Boss is about. At the end of the day, find a career that fulfills your dream life. And so if there are 3 things I want you to take away from my little session here today, find your focal point. What is that one screw that you can turn that unlocks everything else in your life? Number 2, be bold. Don't be afraid to go pursue what you want. Get creative, think outside the box, and just do it. The only limits you have in life are the ones you create. Number 3, be resilient. You're not a failure until you quit. Thank you so much. Thank you, Taylor's ADP. I would appreciate if you guys follow us on Instagram. It's moneyboss.co. You can feel free to connect with me there. I look forward to staying in touch. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Miss Amy. It was truly inspiring. How I work, how I play, and how I give back. That was really interesting. We have come to our Q&A session of the webinar. Ms. Elvin, Mr. Har, Miss Amy will be addressing your questions. So you may type in your questions and comments in the chat box, and we will put forward to our speakers. I would also like to invite Dr. Loh Kah Heng, Program Director of American Degree Transfer Program, Taylor's University, to join us. Yeah. Let's just give a minute so while we get all our speakers, our panel, up on screen. Okay, all right. So maybe I will start off with a few questions to our speakers first while we wait for questions to come in into our chat box. So the first question is addressed to Ms. Elvin. Ms. Elvin, what is it like being a vaccine scientist during COVID-19 pandemic?
Love this question. Thank you for that. So it's a bittersweet experience for me. When the news of the disease came in early last year, we were ready to crank up our efforts, not knowing how bad it could get just a few months later. We have been in similar situations before with Zika virus and the Ebola outbreak in Africa. So in terms of how we conduct our experiments in the labs, we have to adapt and be flexible to minimize person-to-person interaction. We all know that drill. Each lab can only be occupied by at max maybe 2 people at a time with full PPE gear, so we'll be sweating. We're not required to be in the lab the full 8 hours anymore, but this change in job culture has never interrupted our productivity. Initially, when the vaccines were not available yet, because we were still testing out a lot of things, we knew our goal was to deliver potential vaccine candidates to our collaborators, and at the same time, perform research to study and understand more about the virus itself. Like, everything was so new. And with COVID-19, it was constantly evolving. We not only have the virus as our enemy, but time was also pressuring us. It's difficult not to be emotionally affected by what you see unfolding every day, rise in cases and rise in deaths. When the vaccines were finally ready and clinical results were outstanding, we were jolly. We high-five each other and we were ready to pop some champagne. The end is near, we said. But then now we have a new enemy, and that is vaccine misinformation. I would be lying if I told you that I don't get agitated by the amount of misinformation there is out there. And the saddest part is that the victims of misinformation are you guys, the public. So yes, bittersweet is still the word I would use to describe my feelings as a vaccine scientist during this pandemic.
Thank you so much, Elvin, for sharing that with us. My next question is for Mr. Ha. What are the tips and tricks on studying for ADP? And this is a question that we received from our registration.
Well, I think it's, the ADP program mimics the American education system. So, I think personally, so what it offers you is the flexibility to choose the classes that you want to take and your academic career. So keeping that in mind, I think one of the things that I really liked about it is just being able to explore, using the program to explore what are your strengths, and then investing in that, and then at the same time, being conscious about building your breadth of skills, right? I think that's, at least, I can't speak for everybody, but for my experience, I found through, when I went to ADP, I wasn't sure if I was going to go to business school or engineering school. Math wasn't my strongest subject, but I was kind of a nerd, kind of enjoyed building things. The ADP program was great because it allowed me to experiment and test and figure out whether that was the route for me. So kind of treat the system as a way for you to explore, for you to learn, and it's a process of self-discovery. And I think you'll find the program to be pretty successful at that.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Ha. Miss Amy, during your sharing session, you were involved in so many things. So how did you manage your time? How do you manage your time as a student and still be involved in so many activities?
My first thought was coffee, but that's not a good answer. I want to say time management, but what's more important than time management is energy management. So for example, balancing a consulting gig and trying to pass exams is very challenging. So I find that instead of taking, so what we do is we get study hours, right? And we get 8 hours a week. Instead of taking everything in one day, I spread it out over, say, 4 days. And I take 2 hours every morning because I find that earlier in the morning, you can study better. And so I reserve my best time of my day studying, and then I can do all the busy client work the rest of the day. Balancing that with my hobbies, it's like you can't do everything at the same time. You kind of have to be strategic with when you do something. If you're learning something, if you're learning one thing of an area, don't learn all 3 things at the same time. Focus on learning this area. When this one gets to a stable state, then move on to the next one, then move on to the next one. You don't ever pursue new things all at the same time.
Thank you so much, Miss Amy. Now, this is a question that we received from the registration form, and this is for Dr. Loh. The question was, what would be the top universities to pursue after ADP in Taylor's in mathematics and the best career choice in mathematics?
Okay, thank you, Judy. So actually in the United States, almost all universities offer mathematics degree as it is the pillar of the STEM education. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Okay. Likewise, our three speakers here, they have a very strong foundation or strong background in mathematics. That's why they are so successful nowadays. Okay. Now, the top university that most of our students transferred to would be, just to name a few, University of Minnesota, University of Wisconsin, University of Michigan, Purdue University, Drake University, and so on. Okay, so the logical thinking, problem solving, and decision-making skills that they learned while studying a mathematics degree are highly valued by the employers across many job sectors. Okay. Some of the jobs directly related to the mathematics degree includes actuarial analyst, astronomer, data analyst, data scientist, investment analyst, research scientist in mathematics, secondary school teachers, software engineer, sound engineer, statisticians, machine learning engineer, computing, and so on. So these are the fields that mathematics degree students can go into, can explore in those fields.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Loh. Now we're going to take a question that is in the chat. This is from Anne Shen. May I know if a student before joining university already has a business generating high income? Do you think it is still necessary to go for studies? Maybe Mr. Har or Ms. Alvin or Ms. Amy, would one of you be interested in answering this question?
I can take a stab, and then someone else can correct me. So my personal opinion about it is, and you're not gonna like this answer, is that it depends, right? It depends on what your goals are, right? If you're doing what you love, you've got a business, and you see growth in that, and you're learning a lot from the experience, you know, school will always be there. You can always go back and do it again in the future, right? Life, I know life gets tough, you get kids, things like that, it becomes a little challenging, but I think school's not going to run away. But having said that, it also depends on where you are in your business and what you're doing, right? If say that's just a stopgap measure, you want to do something else, it's important to answer the question, why are you going to school? Don't you go to school because society tells you to do so. It's, are you trying to go to a different field? Are you trying to enter a different industry? Are you just trying to learn about things? Are you going to school for the sake of education, right? Sometimes that's not emphasized enough. We always think about school as a way to get a job. It's to get an education. Job comes along with that, you know. So I don't know if that's useful for you, because I'm not giving you a yes or no response, but I think it's my point is focus on the why, and then the answer will become clear.
All right. And Anson has also asked the question. Sorry, Miss Amy, were you planning to answer?
Oh, I was just gonna, I wanted to chime in. I agree with Mr. Ha completely. Make sure you have a very strong why you want to go back to school, because it is very costly. Even if you don't go back to school, always seek continuous improvement. So even if you're not doing traditional college, find ways to grow and learn in whatever field you choose to pursue.
Thank you so much, Ms. Amy. Jensen has also asked, Anne Shen has also asked this, do Taylor's ADP provide 3+1 program? Dr. Loh, maybe you would like to answer this question.
For business program, we have some 300 level courses. So basically they can do 2.5 years and 1.5 year over to US.
Thank you so much, Dr. Loh. Now we have a question from Javier Kai. How do you find your passion in your major? Okay, that's a big question. Ms. Alvin, would you want to take this question?
Yeah, sure. I can start off. So how do you find your passion in your major? That's actually a dilemma, even as an adult, right? So for me, I didn't know until, like I said, until the very end of my year in college. Like I knew that, okay, at first when I took chemical engineering, I thought, okay, maybe I can work for the big oil companies. And then I was like, nah, I don't like any of these classes, because I took those classes and I was like, they're not fun. And then I realized, hey, like I can use my degree in pharmaceutical engineering, which I didn't know about at the time. So I think for you to find your passion, you kind of have to do a lot of like internship. Like to me, for me, I learned it through internship, that I didn't know, I didn't like any of these stuff. Then I started like taking out like what I don't like, and then only focus on what I liked. And that's why like I did in my final year, I did my concentration in biological engineering. So yeah, and I guess another point would be to do a lot of like reading and like research of other people's lives. Not like Instagram, not that, but I meant like, like look up like articles on like, not like scientific articles, I'm sorry, but like, look up inspirational articles and see, oh, you know what, I really liked what this person is doing, let me read more on that.
So anybody else want to add?
I think, Mr. How, were you planning to, you unmuted and then.
I think I'm covering some of the similar points Alvin made, which is, I think the internships, finding the application of what you're learning helps a lot. I do want to say, don't try to find a passion because it's your major already. Like I think, you got to do something because you're interested in it. I think if you approach education as, I'll tell you how I went to civil engineering. I went to civil engineering not because I want to be a civil engineer. In fact, in the business, no one actually calls me a civil engineer. I'm actually a transportation engineer, which sounds like the same thing. It's different in the biz, right? But for me, I decided to go into civil engineering because I thought it was just really interesting. I thought it was really interesting to understand how the world around me was built. That's what it started with, as an interest in the topic. And then what solidified it for me was the internships, seeing what's it like on the public side, seeing what's it like in the consultant environment, learning that, gosh, there's just all these other skills that you don't learn in school that you could be doing. Like there's some variation to it, right? If I was doing just planned production, like what a traditional idea of a civil engineer would be producing and nothing else, I probably would have gone back to school and changed my career, So I think it's the practical experience, seeing what's out there, finding ways that no two jobs are the same thing, and I think that goes a long way.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ha. We have one question from Sim Wan Zhao. I think I will address this to Miss Amy. We'll look at two perspectives. I think we'll get Miss Amy to respond to this, and then also Dr. Loh. How and when should I apply for an internship?
How and when should you apply for an internship?
Yeah, maybe you can just share your experience on this when you were applying for an internship.
Yeah, as soon as possible. I don't think there's any too early. You want to get as many internships as possible. Some people get really strategic with delaying their graduation by a semester just so they can get another summer in. For me, I transferred in the spring and I couldn't work the first summer. It's just based on the way CPT worked. You had to be there for 2 semesters. So the first summer, I ended up studying abroad in Japan, which is funny because I studied abroad. But yeah, you should do the unpaid internship if you can't do it. And I agree with Ms. Alvin. I know my sister, she was an accountant and she had to apply over hundreds of companies, but it's really worth it when you get it, because when you get your first one, you get your second one, and then the snowball rolls.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Amy. Dr. Loh, maybe you want to shed some light on this?
Yeah, okay. For ADP, actually, there is no compulsory for the students to do internship. However, most of our students have taken initiative to apply to do internship on their own, and we have students who have got the opportunity to do internship in Amazon last few months. Now he got another internship for the AirAsia, so he will be deferred 1 semester of study again to do the internship. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Loh. I do believe there's another question at the end by Harir. Kai, what should I do as a year 10 approaching college soon? Any advice? Anybody wants to take this? Miss Elvin, sorry.
Yeah, sure. So I would start off with learning what opportunities are presented to you at the time, right? Like you also need to know what your limitations are. Are you financially like restricted, or are you like I'm like okay with anything. I will try, like I will go as far as I can be from like my like my family, so I can like learn as much as I can. Like it depends on your like your situation. But I would say that don't make the same mistake that I did. Like I took A levels thinking that hey, my friends are on A levels, I think this is the right way to do it. But then actually I found out I actually don't like A levels. So I would first like look at the curriculum of all these like pre-college stages of your life, right? Like your A levels, what is the benefit of like me doing that? And then if I do ADP, what is the benefit of doing that? And where would it take me? And if you already have a passion, not necessarily passion, because passion is so difficult for you to find, but I guess if you have an ambition, like Amy, like she has an ambition and she knows what she wants. And if you know what you want, then find like the fastest and best way for you to get there. And by doing that, like look into like all these pre-college levels, not just like one just because your friends are in it.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Alvin. I think that is all the time that we have at this moment. Yeah, and I don't see any more question that is being posed in the chat as well. So we will end our question and answer session. So if any of you have any other questions, we do have a networking session at the end of this particular webinar. So you still have an opportunity to ask any of our speakers. Yeah. So with that, any last words from our speakers to our audience today?
Okay, I can start. Thank you again for inviting us. This was very like fun, and I guess like it's also inspirational because we're like being called to like do this inspirational talk. But if you have any doubts in your life, like just reach out to any of us, and I think all of us are very happy to give you advice. Like we have all the time in the world now to give you advice. Just email us.
Thank you so much, Ms. Elvin.
I concur. I think this was an incredible opportunity. All of us being a part of Taylor's. Taylor's is one of the premier university. I was so honored to be called back to share. I think all of you guys, if I could just say anything, be present, because you'll never be where you are right now again at this age, figuring out this starry world. What am I gonna be? And yes, passion is a very loose term. I'd say follow your curiosity. What makes you curious? Follow that path, and then don't be afraid to job shadow. Go speak with people in that field and research and read and understand and narrow down, like kind of how I said it. What are you good at? What do you like? What would the marketplace pay for? And I think that will be a good place to start.
Thank you so much, Ms. Amy. Mr. Ha?
You've taken all the great points, but I think that there's one thing I just want to add is, and kind of building off of the points that was just shared is just, stay hungry, keep trying to learn. It doesn't have to always happen through school. Javier, you asked about what you can do at year 10. I've got high school students who apply for internships, which is always a surprise when we get one of these things. But remember what I said about people liking to teach? We took some of those high school students in and did the job shadow, and some of them figured out they want to do something else, and that's great. We support that. So stay hungry, keep looking for opportunities. Don't confine yourself to learning within just the academic setting. There's lots of ways to learn.
Thank you, Mr. Ha. Thank you, Dr. Loh, Ms. Elvin, Ms. Amy, and Mr. Ha for an enlightening Q&A session. We do hope the session was or has been an eye-opening, valuable, and food for thought for all. As we are about to end, I would like to invite Dr. Loh Ha Heng, Program Director of American Degree Transfer Program, for the closing remarks and appreciation. Over to you, Dr. Loh.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Ms. Judith. Good afternoon to all and good evening to our speaker in US. We have appreciated engagement and sharing session you all have contributed to this webinar. A big thank you to our alumni, Ms. Alvingo, Ms. Amison, and Mr. Ha Min, for sharing your overseas work experience, challenges and expectation in this inspirational webinar. Ignite your dream, our journey with Taylor's ADP and beyond. It highlights a successful journey and goal for students to traverse and achieve through ADP program. This webinar provides all the participants with a platform to engage actively with ADP alumni based in overseas companies. Together with the two webinars in this series, that is the first webinar titled Great Student Experience at Taylor's ADP, No Dreamer is Ever Too Small, No Dream is Ever Too Big, which was held in 24th of July. And the second webinar focused on study abroad options at Taylor's ADP, Explore the World and Discover Opportunity, which was held last week. The series of webinars have provided information on preparing our students on transfer path, choosing university to study abroad, experience of study abroad, and choosing majors that suit them well until they get employed in overseas companies. Several important insights and queries on study abroad, particularly in US and Canada, were accomplished and answered through this series of webinars. That is, Taylor's ADP program and its transfer pathway has successfully prepared students to renowned overseas university. Most of the overseas universities have clear transfer pathway and accept Taylor's ADP students with maximum credit transfer, almost more than 90%. And there are scholarships available for students to apply once admitted to respective institutions. Taylor's ADP students will have a smooth transitions to overseas university with regards to all major of their study, such as business, engineering, mathematics and computer science, as well as liberal arts. Last but not least, Taylor's ADP alumni have proven that they stand a good chance of being employed in overseas company after graduation. Sharing from this webinar, I wish to thank all academics, all ADP academics who have assisted in organizing the series of webinar to a great success. Special thanks to Ms. Judith, Ms. Kelly, and Dr. Kalai, who have assisted to organize this inspiration webinar. I personally wish to express my gratitude to you all for taking up your time and sharing your experience and thoughts. And I hope you all have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Loh. Now, if there are any questions on the Taylor's ADP program you would like to inquire, you can reach out to Dr. Loh based on the particulars seen on your screen. The Taylor's ADP Facebook and Instagram sites are also made available to you. I would just hold on a minute for you to capture or screenshot the information. As today's session is recorded, those who have registered for this webinar will receive a copy through email. For those who have not registered and you would like a copy, there is a QR code on the slide that you see in front of you. So you could register through it, or there is a link that has been provided to you earlier in the chat that you could also register through that. Yeah. So if for those who have registered, you will get a copy of this particular session through your email. Now that ends our inspirational webinar today. We do have a networking session with our 3 alumni speakers, so do stay on if you would like to connect with them. For those who will be leaving the session, on behalf of Taylor's ADP and the organizing committee, thank you all for joining us on a Saturday morning. Stay strong, stay safe, and have a good weekend ahead. Goodbye. Okay, now thank you for those who are staying on with us. This is a networking session with our alumni. So you can unmute your microphone, yeah, state your name and question and to whom you are addressing it to. Yeah, so this is a networking session, so you are able to speak to our speakers. So what we would like you to do is you can unmute your microphone, state your name and question and to whom you would like to address the question to. Now, we would sincerely appreciate that when you do that, you could keep the camera on. Now, if you are shy to state or unmute your microphone, you could always state your questions in the chat and we will post them to our speakers. You may have had a question in mind or posted it in the chat group that we may have missed due to time factor. So this gives you that opportunity to ask them. Yeah? So we will have the session for 15 minutes, right?